This week we have Raymond is coming back for another one of his comparison videos. What I like about this is sometimes he gives you some insight into two video games in the same genre. Sometimes they are both great games. Sometimes they're games that he has a hard time saying which one maybe would be his favorite. And he leaves it kind of up to you to decide necessarily, like, if it's a game that sounds good, maybe you'd want to, maybe buy it, leave it on the shelf, wait for it to come out in Game Pass, whatever else. But this week, my friends, he is going to delve. Are we really going to maybe parachute, maybe glide, maybe use a Sheikah slate to get us into the wonderful world of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Genshin Impact. But I know that this is a little bit loaded for me because when it comes to Zelda, I just feel like after, 5 times of starting the game, once I got into that 5th time and kind of sat down and started playing, things started to gel, got the amiibos, got the treasure chest dropping out of the sky, and it was time to get that Master Sword and go to town. So I'm going to let him do it, and I know what my opinion is, but I'm going to stop talking because it's not about me. It is about Raymond. So without further ado, grab your sword, grab your shield. It's dangerous to go alone. He's going to, but he's got this covered.
Hi everybody and welcome to The Goats. Every episode we compare two games similar in genre that you love and see which one is more worth playing based on what your preferences are. I'm your host Raymond. Grab some snacks, sit back and relax, and listen to our audiobook map as we navigate the jungles of the internet to find the game of all time. Now, today's podcast will be about adventure open world RPG games. There are tons of different kind of open RPGs out there like RuneScape, Rust, Ark, Pokemon Scarlet, and the list goes on and on and on. 2 of these games stand out to me in particular, and those are Zelda Breath of the Wild and Genshin Impact. These games are very similar, and I'm here to debunk the theory on if Genshin and Breath of the Wild are good counterparts, or if Genshin is just an expensive pay-to-win game and Breath of the Wild is superior. And now, let's get into it. First up, we have Breath of the Wild. This game is an extremely detailed game that has been developed for over 5 years and has been delayed multiple times. I personally didn't find this game until it was well into 2020 during quarantine. When I played this game, wow! The game was so polished and better than most recently released games. For example, Animal Crossing. The game is very fun and enjoyed by many people, but when I played it, I felt like it didn't show the true potential of video games. Zelda Breath of the Wild, on the other hand, shows really how an open world can make you just feel that something. Anybody who first opened this game will know what I'm talking about. The first time I opened the game, it was late at night and my dad just came home and surprised us all with the game. We were all crowded around the TV and the lights were all off. After the intro scene in the Shrine of Resurrection and we stepped on the cliff edge, something moved within me. That moment was the feeling I've been chasing for every single game I've ever played. The feeling where you can see Death Mountain and Va Meadow in the distance and say to yourself, I can go there. That makes everybody feel like they can do whatever they want. And the details in this game, wow, everything is amazing. The story and progression are also easy enough to understand. You wake up in a shrine with no memory of who you are and how you got there. Then you meet an old man that forces you to do his bidding for a solid 17 minutes. After that, the game throws you into big open world, where you'll meet Ghost Dad, well-meaning death machines, Raisin Monks, extreme sliding, aggressive rocks, climate change, the color blue, somewhere over the rainbow, Claritin Clear, talking dogs, physics, selfies, sick beats, true love between NPCs, major tests of murder, the echoing voices inside your head that won't stop, feminism, beesjerger, real estate, reverse cougars, stressful music, delicious and nutritious sand, talking rock people, that one Stephen King movie, you know what I'm talking about, professional vegans, orange glowing balls, animal cruelty, falling, dying, crying, and becoming one with nature. I'd like to explain more, but this intro is too long already, so let's get into the review. Without further ado, let's review! First up, we have difficulty. The difficulty for Breath of the Wild is pretty straightforward. The game has a great tutorial that really lets you understand how to play the game, and after you beat the Great Plateau, you're on your own. There aren't that many teaching moments in the game, which is where they tell you what to do, how to do it, and where you need to go. Breath of the Wild doesn't do that. What it does is tell you what to do and where to do it in giant clumps of missions, and it's up to you how to do it. You can also completely ignore all the missions and just waltz your way up to Hyrule Castle and defeat the final boss. Note that he will instantly kill you because, well, you're low leveled, but you can still do it. There's also an internal leveling system where if you defeat enough enemies and you have completed enough missions, the enemies level up and hit harder. There aren't any flashing lights or anything, it's just a completely invisible process, which makes it way better than most games already, because it's not trying to become some kind of fancy fantasy game. It's more like a post-apocalyptic game where you can do exactly what you want. No holding your hand or anything, just pure on your own gameplay. The graphics are amazing. This game is the only game that has given me this kind of graphics. No realistically holding weapons or stuff like that, but the game makes you feel relaxed, and I don't really know how to explain this feeling, but the only way I can describe it is when it's really cold in your house and you're bundled in a bunch of blankets on your couch and you have the controller in your hand and you don't have a care in the world. That is the feeling. Considering most games at the time, Breath of the Wild is a really amazing graphics game. A black rectangle the size of a phone can fit in your pocket, has all these polygons in it. Truly amazing. Never seen before graphics that are cartoony, but not that much that are realistic, but still fantasy-like. Next up is the playability. The Switch doesn't have that many difficult controls, but some of the unofficial combos, such as wind bombing, can be really tricky to pull off based on pure button mashing. Base game doesn't have that many hard moves to pull off. Most of the time in the combat, you're just pressing the Y button over and over and over and again. If you want to be a pro at the game, though, you're gonna need to time your moves right, such as dodging at the right time and parrying your enemy attacks. Some of the glitches that are pulled off by speedrunners and pros are extremely hard to do, such as infinite spirit orbs and weapon duplication. I will count this because, come on, who hasn't used wind bombing or bullet time bounce before? Controls are pretty hard to get the hang of. The price is an easy thing to talk about. The only platform that you can get Breath of the Wild on and its upcoming sequel is the Nintendo Switch, to my knowledge. It costs around $60 for the full game and the DLC included. The sequel for Breath of the Wild is Tears of the Kingdom, and that game will cost you about $70 a pop. Since there aren't any more platforms to compare it to, it's a pretty good price for a full game experience that you can spend years on. Next up is the lore. There's a lot of lore in the Breath of the Wild universe. It makes a lot of sense because there's already a time crossword puzzle for Zelda. There are interesting things to find about this game, and this game is completely, well, not completely, but mostly lore-based. The story and everything else is the most crucial part of this game, to my knowledge, so I won't spoil anything to you. Go play the game yourself, or let another podcast spoil it for you, because I'm not going to be the person that will disappoint you. I'll let someone else do that. Play the game yourself and see how good the game is. Popularity is next, and wow, there are so many things to talk about here. The game has a lot of people that are so supportive of this game, and I know that makes sense because it's made by Nintendo, everybody knows about it, blah 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 blah. The reason why this game is so known is probably because, one, there hasn't been a new modernized version of Zelda in a long time. Two, it was released exclusively for the Nintendo Switch and made anyone who wants it have to buy one. And three, it was very different from other Zelda games because you didn't need any previous experience. Many people are still finding new things in this game, such as used mechanics or how the internal code works, and so on. The hype for this game was accelerated when Tears of the Kingdom was released in Nintendo Direct. This made people who didn't have Breath of the Wild need to get it, to experience the prequel. The prequel to Breath of the Wild was very bad in my opinion. It didn't have any RPG elements, and the gameplay felt more like a dungeon crawler than an open-world RPG. But this isn't about Hyrule, whatever the name was. This is about Breath of the Wild. Well, not really Breath of the Wild. With that, we are moving on to Genshin Impact. The game was released after Breath of the Wild, and many people agreed that developers just saw this as very profitable and wanted some of the action. The game's similar to Breath of the Wild, but just a little bit. There are towers that make you unlock the map, shrines that you could defeat to get a reward, the paraglider, huge open world RPGs, all the different skills you could get, cooking, same outpost designs, similar mechanics. You know, maybe this game is more like Breath of the Wild than I thought. I personally have never experienced this game so much, so I will quote a lot of other websites and YouTuber reviews. There aren't many things to talk about, and I don't know much of the story, so without further ado, let's review, I guess. First up for Genshin, we have the difficulty. The game is your classic dungeon crawler mixed in with some open world RPG, in my experience. The start of this game is very laid back and pretty non-grinding, I think. The game at the start gave me tons of good gear and characters such as a 4-star girl character and a 5-star weapon. This made the starter dungeons very easy and relaxing to beat. The combat system revolves a lot around moving, in my opinion. For the rune guard at the last part of a dungeon I had to constantly move and dodge and be able to survive. I was lucky enough to find a lot of good things at the start of the game, so I can only imagine what it would be like if I had to start out with starter items. Ugh. Overall, I think the difficulty is pretty good, if not a bit grindy in the later game. Next, let's talk about the graphics. When I first started up this game, the first thing I noticed was that the game had no uneven clipping or displacement of shadows or the loading screen errors for the map generation. Instead, it was very detailed, with no freezing of the screen if you go into a new area. But there isn't any lag for most of the game. The second thing I noticed was that the screen rotation blur effect. This is a big one. When you turn the screen, there will be a motion blur effect that is so smooth and satisfying. For most PC games, there is a blur effect. Most games are held in first person, and that makes a very realistic motion shake effect required for the game to feel good. Most of those games have very cheap graphic budgets, though, and this is apparent when you set your sensitivity high and shake your mouse back and forth. This lets you see a black screen rectangularly clipping through the game window. Genshin, though, has an extremely smooth motion blur. Also, other graphic details in Breath of the Wild are seen here, such as far render distance, realistic grass, interesting NPCs that you can actually listen to and look like NPCs. Well, not like NPCs, more like human beings at this point. So amazing. Because in other games, when you look at them, they're like, oh my god, another robot to talk to. Hooray! Anyway, back to the review. The playability of this game is very interesting. The game was first released on PC, and quickly after that, it was released on all popular consoles, including the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch, to my knowledge. This makes the game very easy to access, and so many people play this more than Breath of the Wild because it doesn't matter what platform you play it on, you can play it anywhere. Also, the controls are very simple. Mastering them could take a while as on the mobile version, but there aren't many different buttons to press, so it becomes difficult to combo moves together. Not much to say here. Genshin is a game that has expanded its grip worldwide. Now, the price for this game is a bit non-applicable. There is no entry fee, and there isn't any subscription access. The main way Genshin profits is from pay-to-win strategies. I think. Yes, of course, you don't need to buy stuff to progress, but buying them are so overpowered and essential to the gameplay, there's basically a necessity to buy in-game items. This is the main reason why I prefer Breath of the Wild over this game. For BotW, the whole vanilla game is unlocked after you purchase, including extra content. For Genshin, the whole game revolves around you buying wishes and getting new weapons and characters. Collecting fates to get wishes can be a bit grindy at times. Many people prefer a whole pack of fates, so they can just watch all their hard-earned money spill away. Also, cosmetics and other materials are pay-to-win also. Overall, your money has to be spent to have an enjoyable experience, in my opinion. I repeat, in my opinion. Lorem ipsum dolor sit what et and that is all the lore I know. I haven't done that much research on this game. If you have much lore in your brain about this game, please feel free to completely destroy me from the inside out and ruin my self-esteem. Hey, what did I say? Lastly, we have the popularity. This game is very popular. Like I said, it is playable on all platforms, not just the Nintendo Switch. People from all over the world play this game, but mostly people below the age of 18. This game is basically a free version of Breath of the Wild, and that makes it very good because it also has very good graphics and other things. There isn't much to say here either. Many people that I played this game before or heard of this game, so that actually surpassed how many of my friends played Breath of the Wild. I think the cute fantasy art style with the cool weapons and characters make it fun for all people. Many people know about this game. Let us combine our knowledge of what we have learned and let me inform you which game is more suited for your preference. Remember, this is all my personal opinion. If you think differently, then that's fine too. Breath of the Wild is a moderate difficulty, super high quality, hard to master, reasonably priced, emotionally investing, super popular open world RPG with Fallout 4 elements. Because, come on, who doesn't like Fallout 4? Genshin is an easy-to-play, high-quality, easy-to-master, kind of a meh-priced, great spin-off, amazingly designed, incredible RPG dungeon crawler / open-world explorer knockoff of an already good game that is similar, but if you want a super good RPG that makes you do everything your way, play Breath of the Wild. And with that, it looks like it's the end of our podcast. I hope you have enjoyed your stay and my opinion, and if not, feel free to completely ruin me and destroy my sense of self-worth. See you later. Bye-bye.